We're here with Maurice Williams of Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs, and many, many other bands as well. And I was going to ask you about the early days, Maurice. Before the Zodiacs and before the Gladiolas, where did it all start?
Started in church, First Washington Baptist Church in Lancaster, South Carolina. And I was in a junior choir there, and we had a gospel group called the Junior Harmonizers. Mm-hmm. And I left there and went to school, and then school was in the Glee Club. And the Glee Club, I was in high school then, and we formed a group, vocal group, and playing group also, because we all sang in the Glee Club and we all played instruments. So we started playing high school proms and VFW clubs. And then we did a talent show at Lancaster High School. And there was some guys there from the University of South Carolina, and they got us to start playing for the fraternity parties. So we did it every weekend.
That was in the mid-50s or late 50s?
This is the mid-50s. Mm-hmm. It was early 50s. Mm-hmm. Early 50s. And then we started playing at the University of Georgia and started doing all the college things. And then I went to Nashville and recorded Little Darling. Mm-hmm. That's how I got started.
That was the doo-wop era, huh?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Yeah. Well, the Gladiolas was a doo-wop band, was it not?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that the first song you ever wrote?
The first one that made the charts.
Yeah.
And the first one I ever recorded. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you made it really big on the R&B charts back then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the Diamonds covered it.
Yeah.
And they made #2 on the national charts. Mm-hmm. And Gladiolas, I think, was in the top 20.
Wow.
In the black charts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So those were good old days.
Those were the days.
Where did the Zodiacs come from? I heard a story about a car and a breakdown.
Yeah, it was a car. We were in Bluefield, West Virginia, and our station wagon broke down. And we were in this car shop waiting on to get it repaired. Mm-hmm. And my bass player, Robert Brickens Gore, saw this car, and we were looking for a name, and he said, "How about Zodiac?" And I said, "That sounds good." So my manager said, "We'll call it Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs." By that, he said, then nobody can steal the name, because it'd be Maurice Williams and. So we took up Maurice Williams Zodiac.
Yeah, there was a problem
from
with that.
German car.
Yeah, because several groups did have problems with names being stolen back in those days. And it was
definitely
kind of a Wild West time.
Yeah, it was. Like today, you got a whole bunch of drifters.
Yeah.
You know, a whole bunch of drifters. Mm-hmm. And all that jazz, so we didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
That solved it.
So after Stay, you had another song in '61, right?
64.
With May I?
Oh, you speaking May I? It was 64.
Yeah, 64?
64.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Tell me about May I.
May I, it was a thing that I wrote. I was living in Charlotte then. And I had gotten married and everything. And I sat down and I was thinking, I just made it up, and I was thinking of the Four Seasons when I did it. And that's how it came about, with the high parts and all that stuff in it.
And you're totally out of the doo-wop now. You're
together. But it's still doo-wop. It's still doo-wop. Yeah. Because it's, doo-wop, it's got all of it in it.
Yeah.
May I is.
And then, of course, half the free world covered your song there, too.
Oh, yeah. Bill and the Rondells did May I.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that as an artist? Do you feel like that is complimentary when they cover your music, especially stuff you've written?
Well, as a songwriter, you really feel great. Because as a songwriter, you feel like when you write a song, as something like when a lady have a baby, that's your little baby. You gave birth to something, and the more people sing it, the more people like it, and it grows and grows, and it make you feel real good, And as an artist, you feel good,
Same is true with Little Darling. That got covered by a lot of folks, too.
Yeah, Elvis did Little Darling, too.
Yeah. And the Tokens.
The
new Tokens.
They did.
It's kind of a calypso beat on that version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. Really did.
So between the 60s and the late 80s, you were touring and recording and just journeyman musician, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Tell me about those days. Were they just on the road all the time?
Yeah. Mostly on the road. We did Los Angeles and all that, and New Mexico, all out in there, and then we of course we did Apollo, and a lot of theaters.
Yeah.
But Apollo was like being in college, because you really learn there to the ropes of show business. Really, you learn to be on time. You learn the business part. Apollo was very strict about being on time, and I remember that, and that was one of the first lessons that you learn was being on time. I know this guy had the song "Money." Barry Strong, friend of mine. He had it, and he came to Apollo late. You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be inside by 10. So that morning he was late. He got about 11. The guy said, "You can go back home." At the door, he said, "No, man, I'm on the show." And the man said, "No, not today." So you can go back, and they say, "I gotta hit a record." And the man say, "Everybody on the show gotta hit a record, Barry. So you're late, so just forget about it. Turn around right there."
Oh my!
So and everybody saw that, and that was something. You know, you learn to be on time and to really do. And you just learn so much there. You learn how to do a show, whether there's one person in the audience, because you didn't see the audience, because the lights were in your eyes, and you couldn't see who was in the audience. So you did well every morning. You did well, you know. That's a learning ground.
Tell me about how you heard about Dirty Dancing.
I heard about it. It was in a movie when I heard about it. It was already out.
Oh, really?
The movie was out, and so it was Stay is in it, and that's how I heard about it. Then I talked to my publishers, and you know, they said it was all legit, and everything was good. And I met the young lady that wrote it, Eleanor Bernstein. I met her, and she says she just had to have Stay in it. She's responsible for getting Stay in there in that movie.
So you heard about Stay being in the movies, and what did that do for your career?
Oh, it was like a shot in the arm. It brought about a whole new audience and everything, a younger audience, and it gave us a shot again, knocked us right back out there again. You know, it's a lot of touring again.
So you started touring mostly the Southeast for the movie, or was it tied in with the movie?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah. So where have you been on tours? Inside the country? Have you been outside the country as well?
Yeah, Japan, London, and Bahamas, Jamaica, all over there. And it's been great. All over the States, the United States.
Long way to go for a choir boy from Lancaster.
Yes. Ain't too bad, is it?
Not bad. You've been in the business with Zodiacs now for 50 years.
Yeah. Well, 50 years counts the Gladiolas and the Zodiacs.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, together. Both.
So it's quite a career.
And actually, it's been more than 50, because you count 19. I actually started about 53. You know.
Oh, okay.
And the first record was 57.
57. That was a little
Lord
more.
Darling.
Yeah. You re-recorded Little Darling with the Zodiacs.
Yeah.
Man, that is a hot song.
Thank you. I'm so glad you like that.
Oh man, I'm telling you, and our audience likes it too.
Good.
They haven't heard that version of it. They're familiar with the early version by the Zodiacs, but now, I mean by the Gladiolas, but now hearing it by the Zodiacs.
It tells a story. I was sitting at home in the water. I was sitting at home, and I say, this album, I got to come up with something different. And I thought about Little Darling, and I'm writing this book. And the book started at the beginning of the career. And I say, wow. And I say, Little Darling, the beginning. Little Darling is the beginning, the start of the career. And I said, well, let's put it in a song. So that's where the talk part came. Back in 57, we took a little trip over to Nashville, 56, over to Nashville, Tennessee to make a record, you see. And it tells the story at the beginning of my career. And I rap that part, talk that part, rap it, whatever. Rap you can understand, as you know. And sing a little bit of Little Darling, and that's how that came about.
Wow.
I love that. I love it.
Well, today you've got a new release, an old Ray Charles song.
Yeah, man.
Lay Around, Love on You.
Lay Around, Love on You. I love that song. I just love it. I love Ray Charles.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Man, I loved him. Love him still. I met Grandpa Jones. You remember Grandpa Jones? He's a character. I met him. And see, Arthur Smith, you ever heard of Arthur Smith Cried Next? We're friends, because he's from Kershaw. I'm from Lancaster. All that right together. And I was on his show almost like all the time. And we became friends, still are friends. We are, and I did so much work at his studio in Charlotte, when they had a studio.
He wrote Dueling Banjos, didn't he?
Yeah, that's the song, yeah.
That's the
he wrote Dueling Banjos.
Interesting story there, too.
That's exactly right. And so when I got to Nashville, when I went to the Grand Ole Opry and met Grandpa Jones, I said, Grandpa, you know Art Smith? Grandpa say, who in the hell is Arthur damn Smith? It's shocking. That's why he didn't know Arthur. He knew Arthur. I mean, who don't know?
Yeah, I mean,
Guitar Boogie. He wrote Guitar Boogie. You know, he knew him. He's just trying to be funny. I don't know what it is. But that was, I never will forget that. It took me. This old man cursing like that. Grandpa Jones. But that was something to play there. And we played, it was a benefit, thank you. It was a benefit for John Richburg, who had cancer. And we were raising money for his treatments. And John Richburg is a guy that I met when I first went to Nashville. He met me at a hotel to take me over to the recording studio. And that's how I met him. So on that show, he had everybody back that he had been instrumental in their career. And James Brown, everybody's been to James Brown, they had Benny King, not Benny King, but B.B. King, the Neville Brothers, so many people that he had been instrumental in helping. And we all did a show there for him.
What's coming up next?
Well, I'm doing a book. Like I said, I'm doing the book because we're doing the anniversary show tonight. And I'm doing a book, and then we're doing a benefit for my buddy Little Fred that passed away.
And tell us about Frederick.
Frederick was an artist that that's done now. That he was in the group, and I was producing him on a lot of stuff, and he had asthma. And got the best of him, he passed away.
Yeah. But he recorded something just before he passed away.
Yeah, he recorded Curtis Mayfield's song, Mama Didn't Know. And it was,
which is not a bad track at all.
Yeah,
not a bad track.
It did well. It went up, it was in the top 10 beat music.
Yeah. So finally, he's
quite a singer.
He is, or was.
Man, yes, he was.
We lost a good one with him.
Really did.
Yeah.
Really did. He was my buddy. So, we did that with him.